10:42 p.m., Faith's apartment, Austin, Texas. Why would a woman post "finally free" and disappear less than 2 hours later? Her ring sits on the counter. Her phone screen glows with that last post, bright against the dark. Outside, thunder rolls like something waiting to break. Faith Jensen thought she was walking out of a nightmare. Instead, she was stepping straight into one. The comments under her post started climbing. Hearts, confetti, "You deserve better." Then silence. Messages unanswered. Location tag deleted. Her roommate, Aaron Blake, swears Faith was packing that night. But when police arrived, the suitcase was still open. Clothes folded, untouched. No one saw her leave. But the elevator camera caught one thing: a hand pressing lobby, and Faith's reflection, eyes red, smiling like she'd finally made peace with something. Suspect, Dr. Paul Kendrick, ex-boyfriend. He claims she texted him, "I'm done with the past." But detectives later proved that text came after her phone was powered off. So who sent it? When Officer Luke Ramirez replayed the footage frame by frame, he noticed the moment the screen went black. Faith's smile vanished first, as if she saw someone she knew. 3 days later, her car was found 6 blocks from her apartment. Keys still in the ignition. Her phone missing. Her drink cup half empty. The streetlight above that car still flickers at night. And locals say sometimes, when it does, you can almost see her reflection. The same half-smile from that final post, frozen in the glass. But one detail didn't add up. 2 days later, digital forensics lab. If Faith's phone was missing, why were new messages still being sent from her number? Rows of monitors. The glow of chat bubbles opening and closing on loop. Detective Naomi Frost leans forward, frozen on one message that shouldn't exist. The words read like Faith, but the punctuation, it wasn't hers. The texts began exactly 12 hours after her disappearance. "Don't worry, I just needed space. I'll call when I'm ready." Normal words, except the phone never connected to a tower after 11:09 p.m. Naomi's hands tighten on the keyboard. She zooms in on the metadata. The messages weren't typed from a phone. They were copied and pasted from a document saved under the name session_notes_of k.pdf. Who would name a file with her initials, except someone close enough to know them by heart? Dr. Paul Kendrick, her ex, told investigators he hadn't touched her account. But when Officer Luke Ramirez checked his clinic's Wi-Fi log, Faith's Instagram login appeared there. At 11:46 p.m., 20 minutes after her last sighting. Aaron Blake cried during questioning. Said Faith planned to delete everything. A digital clean slate. But why was the account active 3 days later, posting old photos with new captions? One of those captions read, "Peace feels like silence." And beneath it, a location tag Faith never used before. Riverside Underpass, exit 14. Naomi froze, because 2 weeks earlier, that same tag appeared in a missing person case Kendrick had evaluated, a patient who was never found. When they checked the underpass, they didn't find Faith, but they found something that belonged to her. 48 hours later, Westbrook Football Field, near Wood Farm. It wasn't the underpass. It was what led to it, a half-forgotten stretch of open land where the high school football field meets the edge of the Wood Farm property. The grass was uneven, still wet from the morning drizzle. Police tape rippled in the cold wind. Detective Naomi Frost stood there, eyes fixed on the patch of ground that didn't match the rest. "Faint over here. Something's coming through." A cadaver dog whined, clawing the earth near a drainage line that ran beneath the field. When they lifted the grate, a rush of stale air burst upward, the smell of rot, oil, and something faintly metallic. The officers stepped back. Naomi knelt. Her flashlight beam caught the edge of a blue fabric, not just any fabric. It was the same jacket Faith wore the night she vanished. Evidence recovered, victims' clothing identified. But that wasn't all. Inside the pocket, sealed tight in a plastic sleeve, was a photo, blurred, damp, but visible. Faith, standing in that same field. And behind her, someone tall wearing a hooded sweatshirt. The timestamp? 11:04 p.m. 5 minutes before her phone stopped transmitting. Naomi's chest tightened. She turned to the forensic team. Who took this picture? No answer. Only the low hum of equipment and the crackle of the radio. Then the tech beside her whispered, "Detective, you might want to see this." He pointed to the far side of the field, where the grass sloped into the woods. The soil there was darker, softer, and in the middle of it, a square metal door half buried. Naomi approached slowly. Her flashlight trembled across the rusted latch. The hatch wasn't part of any farm utility. Someone built it. She crouched, brushed off the mud, and read the faded engraving on the edge. Session storage, WK-14. Her blood ran cold, because that same label, WK-14, matched the folder name hidden inside Faith's phone backup. Naomi stepped back, eyes wide. The open field suddenly didn't feel open anymore. It felt like a cover, a stage hiding what lay below. She radioed for backup. "Seal this perimeter. Nobody leaves." And as the night settled over Westbrook, the sound of shovels and whispered dread filled the air. They hadn't found Faith yet, but what they were about to uncover under that hatch would change every single thing they thought they knew about her disappearance. The metal hatch groaned open, spilling a wave of cold, chemical air. Detective Naomi Frost's flashlight cut through the black, revealing a narrow staircase swallowed by shadow. Every step echoed like a heartbeat. Drip, drip. Something was leaking below. When her boots hit the concrete floor, she froze. There were drawings on the walls, hundreds of them, childlike sketches of faces, each one marked with a red X except one. Faith's. A shiver crawled up Naomi's spine. The room wasn't abandoned, it was arranged. A single chair, a broken camera, and on the table, a tape recorder still blinking red. She pressed play. The static cracked, then a trembling voice whispered, "If you're hearing this, I wasn't the only one." Naomi's breath caught. The voice wasn't Faith's. It was someone older. Then, in the background, footsteps. Slow, deliberate, close. She turned toward the stairs and saw the beam of another flashlight moving above her. Someone else was already down there before the police arrived. Naomi reached for her weapon, heart pounding. But when she looked back at the table, the tape recorder had stopped, and the red light was gone. The field above was silent. But beneath it, something had just woken up. The old camera from the chamber still smelled of damp earth and rust. Detective Naomi Frost sat alone under flickering fluorescent light, pressing play on footage no one had cleared for viewing. The screen hissed static, then came a frame. An open field, moonlight trembling on wet grass, and Faith walking barefoot, her white hoodie drenched, her face distant, almost sleepwalking. Behind her, a figure followed, keeping perfect pace, always 3 steps back. Naomi leaned closer. The camera shook as if held by someone hiding behind trees. You could hear Faith's voice faintly. "You said you'd help me forget." The figure answered, "I am helping. This time you won't remember what you saw." Then the screen glitched, and Faith suddenly looked straight at the lens. Eyes wide, terror absolute, mouth forming a single word before the feed cut to black. "Run." Naomi froze the frame, zoomed in, heart pounding. There was a reflection in Faith's pupil, not of the masked man, but of another camera on a tripod behind him. Meaning, someone else was recording both of them. When Naomi found the second camera, the footage showed who orchestrated everything, and it wasn't who anyone expected. The UV lights flickered on, bathing the evidence in ghostly violet. Detective Naomi Frost stood over Faith's sweatshirt, every fiber still damp with traces of earth and blood. But something about the pattern wasn't right. It wasn't chaos. It was structured. She lowered the lamp closer. The splatters curved, not random, each droplet positioned as if guided by purpose. Then the outline began to form letters. R-I-V-E-R-A. Naomi froze. Her pulse thundered. There was no Rivera listed anywhere in the case file, no victim, no suspect. She ran the database, 0 matches. That's when she glanced down at her own badge. Frost, N. Rivera. Her mother's maiden name. A name she'd stopped using years ago. The blood wasn't a clue for police. It was for her. Her hands trembled as she pulled up Faith's intake form from Kendrick's clinic. Next to emergency contact, one name was handwritten, barely legible, but clear enough under magnification. Naomi Rivera Frost. Naomi's chest tightened. Faith had listed her, but Naomi had never met her before. Or had she? A memory flickered. Years back, a teenage girl sobbing in a station hallway, whispering, "They won't believe me, Officer Rivera." Naomi had comforted her. Then the case was buried. Now that same girl had grown up, changed her name, and vanished under Naomi's jurisdiction. If Faith remembered Naomi, who was trying to make Naomi remember her? The building was empty, lights dimmed to a low hum. Detective Naomi Frost typed her old name into the archive system, Naomi Rivera. Access denied. She tried again. Access granted. The monitor flickered, then a forgotten report appeared. Case number 1472. Minor female, Faith K. Missing from group home, 2013. Filed by Officer Rivera. Status: closed, runaway, no foul play. But attached at the bottom was a scanned photo. A teenage girl with the same hollow eyes Naomi had seen on the field footage. Faith. And written in pen beneath it. She said the doctor promised her peace. Archived evidence. Dr. Paul Kendrick, initial interviewer. Naomi's throat tightened. Kendrick wasn't a new suspect. He'd been there since the beginning. The clinic. The field. The first disappearance. Her phone buzzed. A message. From an unknown number. One photo. Faith's bracelet. Fresh blood on the clasp. It started with you. It ends where you left her. Naomi's heart pounded as she followed the GPS ping. Straight back to Westbrook Field. When she arrived, dawn was breaking. The mist curled low over the grass. The air sharp with silence. Then she saw it. A single evidence tag fluttering in the wind. Marked number 1472. And beneath it, carved into the soil, Faith's final message. You believed them instead of me. Naomi dropped to her knees. Tears blurred her vision as realization struck. The system had silenced Faith once, and Naomi had signed the report. Her breath broke into sobs as she whispered, "I'm so sorry, Faith." A faint sound echoed from the trees. Footsteps. Then a woman's voice. Fragile, trembling. "It's not over yet." Naomi turned, but the field was empty. Just the rustle of grass, and the sun rising over the place where truth had been buried twice. Case number 1472. Reopened. If you were moved by Faith's story and believe every silenced voice deserves to be heard, subscribe to the Veil of Secret where every untold story finds its light.